All right, everybody, this is Scott coming to you from Arise Liberty, formerly White House 1600 DC. And I want to give a gun control update. As you know, a week ago, a little over a week ago, we defeated every single gun control bill in the U.S. Senate, including the Manchin-Toomey bill, which was supported by Alan Gottlieb and the Second Amendment Foundation. At the last minute, when it was clear that Alan Gottlieb and the Second Amendment Foundation counted the votes and knew they were going to lose with their allies Manchin and Toomey, they withdrew their support for the bill to try to save face. But gun owners, we will remember, we will comment on their videos, we will comment on their Facebook page. We will not support the Second Amendment Foundation. I think we ought to call it the Barack Obama Foundation. So where do we stand now? Much to the chagrin of gun control advocates, when the Boston bombing occurred, there was no firearm use. There was a subsequent shootout, and watching the video, it's clear that the brothers were using handguns, or at least a handgun, to do battle with the cops. Now, it was said that they had an M4 rifle. I know, guys, I know. M4 is the actual military full auto carbine version of the AR-15 platform we're also familiar with. And so, if in fact they had an M4, they got it from the police. And to my knowledge, it's never been used. They say that the younger brother had it during the boat shootout. Well, it turns out now there was no boat shootout. So there was no M4 deployed by the terrorists. And, you know, I'm sure that amongst gun control advocates, they are really mourning that. They wish that they had used an M4 or an AR-15, but it never happened. And so this really doesn't become a situation that helps gun control. One, the house-by-house searches show the absolute overreach of the United States government in instituting a martial law situation. They didn't go house to house and say, you know, we have a warrant, you know, we'd like to search your house, may we? They just went to the house, ordered everybody out, made them put their hands on their heads, made them run, screamed at them. Imagine being a grown man being screamed at in front of your wife. How humiliating. Imagine how that scarred and terrified the children. And so, from this situation, we see that this is terrorism, and that if we are in a state of terrorist attacks, it's a real good idea to have a gun. And I'm not really getting into the merits of the attack in this video. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to talk about guns and gun control. What we learned as well is that if you don't own a firearm, you're not in a good position to defend yourselves. If these brothers had decided to do a home invasion, there would have been little to nothing most Bostonians would have been able to do to prevent it. And so this really hasn't been the gun control bonanza. I know, you know, CNN and especially MSNBC, what guns were used, what guns were used, what guns were used, what magazines were used, you know, just salivating. There really wasn't much there because with the Heller decision, there's really no way to get rid of handguns in common use, which is the semi-automatic handgun. That's your Glocks, That's your 45 ACP. The 45 ACP actually has a little more protection under the Miller constitutional decision, because in Miller, when they banned the short barrel shotgun, they said the reason they could do that is because it's a military service weapon, and the 45 ACP or 45 automatic, we know it's semi-automatic, but it's generally called the 45 automatic. It is a military service arm, highly popular. Not much they can do about that. Now, in terms of what we can look for next is Harry Reid is introducing a bill. That NRA A-rated Harry Reid is introducing a bill that would require a background check to buy powder. So let's say you have a muzzle loader, or let's say you reload your own cartridges. You're gonna, even if you buy one small container of powder, they're gonna require a background check on you. That is just absolutely horrifying. And they would love it. And that bill has to be opposed with every fiber of our being. And it's not even relevant to bring it up in regard to the Boston situation, because they used fireworks. They harvested the gunpowder from fireworks. You'll always be, these kind of criminals are not bullet reloaders. So if they wanted powder, they simply could have harvested the powder and pellets from 12-gauge shotgun shells, which Harry Reid, Barack Obama, Joe Biden will tell you, we are never going to go after the 12-gauge shotgun. My wife would go out on the porch and fire her 12-gauge. I own a 12-gauge. So really, there's not much of an argument to be had there. I don't think we're going to see any new gun control passed, because what really happened by having that vote and having it fail is it's the best of both worlds, because we can attack the senators that voted for it politically, and we don't lose any of our rights in regard to it. Now's the time for vigilance. Now's the time to be ever watching and to stand strong. We as gun owners don't think a lot about CISPA, but this internet security bill known as CISPA is kicking around in the Senate, and that is a very, very dangerous piece of legislation, ladies and gentlemen. That piece of legislation would allow the government to shut down any website. You'd have to be registered if you have over 100 visitors a day. Well, anybody that's got a YouTube channel gets over 100 visitors a day on a particular video. I mean, even the smallest of channels, given time, will crest over 100. So that's a very dangerous piece of legislation. In the long term, with the legalization of illegal aliens and cultural changes, we may in fact find ourselves with a three-branch domination of the Democratic Party, that being legislative, judicial, and executive. If that happens, our gun rights will be gone. So right now is the time to act. When that day comes, we've got to have a solid GOA, Gun Owners of America majority, not an NRA majority, because we've seen how false and how bogus that is. Another item of business is we need to primary Manchin and primary Pat Toomey. Toomey is especially vulnerable. If he loses the support of Pennsylvania gun owners, he's gone. So his hands will never... it's hilarious, because Toomey gets the worst of both worlds. He gets no credit for trying to pass that bill. You'd think, the Democrats, the liberals, the New World Order crowd, they're going to, reward Toomey and, let him be reelected. Yeah, right. They're going to viciously go after him. Viciously. So he's going to get no help from them, even though he's congratulated on TV, like his buddy John McCain. We need to, as gun owners, embrace civil libertarianism in all of its forms, because the truth is there's no future for a white, aging Republican Party. The only way we can be a majority party is by embracing all the aspects of libertarianism in total. We must be, as libertarians, the choice besides the Republicans and Democrats. I mean, if we had just 5 more senators who weren't owned, we wouldn't need a majority. We would be able to stop anything that came down the pike. And so, if you haven't studied libertarianism, I would really urge you to listen to Ron Paul. He's a great place to start. You can move to other things. Lou Rockwell is someone else to study. He's got a lot of videos on YouTube. Lou Rockwell is very, very strong. And Norman Grigg is also very, very strong on civil liberties and gun issues. So those are some people I'd be listening to. Of course, there's a lot more. Anything from the Ludwig von Mises Institute is very, very helpful. All right, everybody, this is Scott, wishing you a wonderful day, urging you to stand strong, and also urging you to keep your powder dry. Thanks, everybody.